All right, here we go. Welcome back to Become a Calm Mama. I'm your host. I'm Darlene Childress. And on the podcast today, I am continuing a series around repair. So last week, I talked about how if you show up in a way that you don't like, if you yell at your kid, if you threaten them, if you name call, or you engage in any sort of threatening behavior, any behavior for you that isn't aligned with your goals, with your values of becoming a calm mama, with your values of being a compassionate parent, with your values of being respectful and attuned. 2 weeks ago, I talked about what attunement is, and it's this idea of seeing the world from your child's eyes and validating them and their experience. Even if you're making a limit, right? Even if you're setting them, like telling them no or doing some kind of thing that they don't like Mom, can I have eggs? And you say, no, I'm serving waffles or anything like that. Recognizing that it's hard to be told no. It's hard to have your parent make something that you don't like. It's challenging for your kid to have their not a lot of power in their life or frustration. They want to play with a toy, but it's off limits. They don't want to go to school because they're tired or overwhelmed, or they just don't want to go. And you're bossing them, telling them you want to go, that they have to go. It's just hard. It's hard to be a little kid. So attunement is really kind of coming alongside, narrating and naming their emotional experience. And when we do that, usually our relationship with our kid stays pretty calm, pretty regulated. They can move through their emotions quickly because we're validating them, and they feel loved and seen and felt and all of those wonderful things. And there are times when we don't show up like that, when we aren't able to attune with our kid, either because we're not aware that their behavior is an attempt to get some sort of connection. Like if you have a kid who complains about what you're serving and you just think they're just being complaining, and they're just saying they don't want eggs for breakfast. But here you are kind of being like, well, you do like eggs, and sometimes you like eggs, and you said you wanted eggs, and you told me that we already had eggs, waffles yesterday, so we're having eggs today. And you're trying to logic them or explain to them or give them information. And then they just really lose their little emotional regulation. And in many ways, our kids try to connect with us through complaining, through whining, through aggressive behavior. They have very limited ability to communicate their emotional world. And so then they show it to us with their behavior. And when we're attuned, when we're paying attention, when we're tuned in, we can kind of see that their behavior is an attempt for connection. Or if they're behaving in a way, we help them connect that their behavior is coming from their feelings and giving them alternative ways to express their feelings. Like, hey, it's okay for you to not want eggs. You could just say, Mommy, I don't like eggs. Can we have waffles tomorrow? You can give them strategies of better ways to communicate. That's kind of what a lot of these podcast episodes are all about. And this one is really about when you can't, when you don't show up that way, when you get frustrated, you're like, you should be grateful that I serve you dinner anyway or breakfast anyway. Like when we get angry about their complaint, when we say no and their big feeling goes on longer than we're comfortable with, and we lose our compassion, and we're like, enough, that's enough. You need to stop crying, right? We get angry. Or if we tell our child no and we're kind and we're like, please don't do that. That's enough. And then they keep doing it, escalating their behavior, and we're not using our connection. We're not using our limit set. We're not using correction. We're not calm, and we dysregulate, and we show up in this short-tempered, sort of a disrespectful way towards our kids. This can also happen if your child asks for something and then you told them no, and then they keep asking. You will lose your patience. You will get overwhelmed. You will get frustrated. You will be irritated. There's going to be times when you're trying to get something done, trying to change the baby's diaper or get dinner on the table or just finish up something on the computer. You're like trying to sign up for your healthcare doctor's appointment on your phone, and your kid is like hitting you or grabbing your phone or hitting their sibling or all of a sudden, climbing on the table or whatever it is. And you're like, get down, stop it. I told you to stop. We lose it. So you're going to lose it with your kids. That's normal. It's part of being in a relationship with anybody, is that we get upset. And when we create a disconnection, in the parent education world, we call that a rupture. So we're in connection, and then the connection gets ruptured or disrupted, and we're in disconnection. So when that happens, what goes on for your child is because children are very self-centered. That's their natural way of viewing the world. They're pretty sure the world revolves around them, and so they think that they are the reason that you're mad. They being their core self, like inside of them, their actual person. They don't really know how to separate their core self from their behavior. That's really hard. It's something that you're learning how to do, right? That last week when we talked about getting over guilt, that it's not about you having, like, you're not your behavior. You have feelings, you have overwhelm, you have whatever it is that drives your behavior. Just like your kids, they have things that go on inside of them, shows up as behavior, shows up as complaining, shows up as, dysregulation, shows up as aggression, shows up as saying inappropriate things, right? Name calling, all these behaviors that drive us crazy, that they are not their behavior. But when we get mad, they internalize our anger, and it's very easy for them to go into shame. It's very easy for a kid to identify their behavior with their core self. So when you yell or get upset, which is normal, and you don't go back and repair, you don't go back and give your child some understanding that the reason you behaved that way was because you were in a big feeling cycle, that you didn't use your tools of pause, break, of, deep breathing or moving your body or whatever, slowing down, saying what your requests are, all the things you want them to do when they're upset. You want to show your child, you want to let them know that you didn't use your tools. That in a repair, going back and letting our kids know, hey, the thing that happened earlier, that was my fault. Because I'm a grown-up and I want to show up in a way, I want to use my calm tools. I'm working on being calm and I wasn't. And that is because I did not take care of myself. I did not calm my body. And we want to repair the relationship, but we also want to repair their concept of themselves. We want to repair their self-esteem. We want to repair their internal self-talk. So repair is great. It's repairing your relationship, yes. But really we want to help your kid repair their relationship with themselves by separating your behavior from their core self. So how do you know that your child might need a repair? It's kind of obvious, right? Like you yell, you or speak harshly, you're too physical, you're dismissive, and you can kind of read, because you are an attuned person, you can tell that they are deflated, withdrawn. Maybe they act a little bit confused. They look confused by your face, by your behavior. They stop making eye contact. They may start crying. They may run away, or they could get more aggressive. So some kids, when they get yelled at, they go hypo-aroused. They go like check out from their body and themselves. Some kids go hyper aroused and they get even more activated. So when you are having a big feeling cycle and you act out your big feelings on your kid is activated, their stress response is activated. So they go into fight, flight, freeze, faint, fawn. So you want to be looking for the times where you see you've created a rupture. Anytime that you do, go and make a repair. Now, if you're just coming to this work of becoming a calm mama and you recognize I don't want to yell anymore and I'm overwhelmed and I don't like the way I've been showing up, you will probably still have a lot of times where you create ruptures because you don't have a strong skill set yet, right? You have a big skill gap. And so you are probably going to have times when you don't show up the way you want to show up. And they'll be really frequent in the beginning and you'll be making a lot of repair. And I don't want you to feel bad about that. It's fine. You are continuously showing your child I am responsible for my behavior and I am learning how to be more responsible. I am learning how to be calm and how I acted. That is my responsibility. I was wrong. I should have done it different. I'm a grown up and I'm learning. And so repair, what is it exactly? It's this act of returning to a moment of disconnection, taking responsibility for your behavior and acknowledging its impact on your child. So you go back in the repair conversation, you go back to the moment that you acted out, the moment that you had your big feeling cycle, the moment that you showed up in a way that was disrespectful or disconnected. And you let your child know, hey, I know that happened and I was wrong. I'm sorry and I'm working on it. That's one part. So we acknowledge the moment of disconnection and we take responsibility. We also want to acknowledge the impact on our child. And so it's not enough to just say to your child, hey, I messed up. Do you forgive me? And then them say yes. And then you say, okay, thank you. We want our children to have a chance to have their feelings acknowledged of how they experienced you. I yelled at you. That was my fault. I'm sorry. I should not have done that. I would imagine you felt very scared when I was yelling at you. Did you feel scared? And you give your kid a chance to actually feel that their experience was acknowledged. This isn't a chance for them to say, it's okay, mommy. I love you. And then just that's it. This isn't for you to assuage your own guilt. It's not a chance for your child to say, you're okay, mommy. It's all okay. You do that work when you do your own self-forgiveness, right? When you do the work before you have this conversation with your kids. So the goal of this repair conversation is for you to help your child understand that your behavior was not about them. Now, this is tricky, right? Because we often will want to say to our kids, hey, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry I yelled, but I wouldn't yell at you if you would have just got your pajamas on. I'm sorry I yelled, but at the same time, you should be more grateful for the fact that I made dinner at all. I'm sorry I yelled, but you should not be climbing on the table. Do not do the parenting and the limit setting and correcting at the same time you're doing the repair conversation. This is a chance for you to just make it clear to your child that you did not practice your calm tools and you were wrong. Now, with repair, I want you to feel confident that this is an important thing to do and that it needs to be done and it needs to be done by you. So I don't want you to be thinking that you have to wait for your child to like initiate it and come to you and say like, "Mommy, are you mad at me?" Or, "Mommy scared me when you yelled at me." This is your job to make the repair. You did the behavior. You caused the problem. I know your children's behavior was wrong, and that is more about limit setting and maybe you missing a chance for connection. So you might have not used your parenting skills, you're working on some behavior changes, and when your child behaved in that way, you didn't act calmly. That's really important that you recognize you are responsible for your behavior. You are responsible for how you respond to misbehavior. Misbehavior is not an emergency. Misbehavior isn't something that needs to be fixed. Misbehavior is a form of communication of your child's emotional life. And we want to help them understand how to communicate better and what is appropriate in our family and in schools and in society. So we do need to be teaching our kids what's appropriate and what's not. But when we respond to their behavior with anger and harshness, that's a missed opportunity for teaching. So we want to start this repair conversation. We want to initiate it. These are important conversations. Doing it when we're calm. Doing it once we've done some reflection. One thing I teach in the Calm Mama course is to actually think about, okay, what did I do? What did I say? And then asking yourself, what was the impact of my behavior on my child? How might they have been thinking? How might they have been feeling when I acted that way? Usually it's scared, confused, hurt, angry, misunderstood, right? Pretty basic emotions that they feel when we are not able to connect with them properly, when we don't, show we're not calm, when we're not calm. So how do you do it, right? You do it when you're calm. You come back in a timely manner. It can be that day, it could be a couple of days later, even if your kid is little. If you had a big temper tantrum, if you had a big feeling cycle and it was like on a Monday and it's Thursday, you can still say, I've been thinking about the other morning, or I've been thinking about what happened yesterday, or I was thinking about what happened a few minutes ago. I was thinking about what happened last week. Now, if you recognize that there might have been a long period of time in your parenting that you didn't show up the way you wanted to show up, you can make repair now. You can go to your kid and like a teenager and say, you know what, there was a period of your life where I was really overwhelmed and stressed and I acted out my feelings on you and I showed up angry and I yelled a lot and I wasn't the parent I wanted to be. And I'm sorry. And then asking or saying, I bet that was really hard for you. I wonder if that was really, hurt you. I wonder if you felt hurt by my behavior. I wonder if you felt, sad. I'm happy to listen to you tell me what it was like for you. So it could be years later, or it can be an hour later. The timing has a lot to do with whether you're ready to share what happened and take responsibility for your behavior without blaming or criticizing or trying to assuage your own guilt. Just being so neutral about what you did, like have a lot of self-compassion, but not needing anything from your child and actually being ready to receive their story and their experience of your behavior. And it can be really uncomfortable for you to have a kid say, Mommy, I really don't like it when you yell at me. It makes me really scared and I want you to stop. That can be a hard sentence. Or, an 8-year-old saying, why do you have to be like that? Why do you have to be so cruel? Why are you yelling at me? Why are you being mean to me? Please don't do that anymore. I don't like it. But what a beautiful thing in your relationship if you can be neutral and open enough to be able to receive your child's pain, even if you're the one who caused it, and let them have a voice and let them have some power to communicate the things that are hard that they've experienced, even if they've been done by you. So giving some room for them to talk about their experience of your behavior, just by asking a question. Did it feel scary? Were you angry with me? Was that hard for you? And I really do believe that it needs to be a question. You can ask, like, I wonder if you were feeling overwhelmed, or I wonder if that was scary for you. Do you want to talk about that? But there is an invitation in a repair conversation that your kid can actually express their feelings about it, and then you validate their feelings. Yes, of course it is scary when you see me yell. Yes, that must have been really difficult for you to feel like I didn't love you or that I didn't care about you. I am sorry. I am working on it. And then we go to now what? So we narrate what happened. We take responsibility. We name the emotions. And then now what is now what? So we make a commitment. I want you to know I'm working on staying calm. I might still yell sometimes, but I'm working on it. I'm sorry, and I'm working on getting to be a calmer person. And then you ask, is there anything you want me to do to make things right? So in that making amends, you are actually inviting your child to find out if there's anything you can do. Yes, Mom, I would appreciate it if you could just, if you want to, like, if you're getting mad, if you could just take a break. Or if I ask you to be quiet and not talk to me anymore, if you could just respect that. Little kids might say something like, can you just give me a hug? Or can you just stop yelling at me? They have simpler language and simpler desires, but we want to give them the opportunity to ask us, to make a request of us. And then we get to say, yes, of course, I will try. I am working on it. I've heard a few parent coaches say, this can be a 15-second conversation. And I agree on some level that you can just quickly be like, oh, I'm so sorry. That was on me. I was overwhelmed and I overreacted and I took that out on you, and I'm sorry. I'm trying to not be like that. That's great. I also do like having it be a little bit longer of a conversation that is where your child can express their feelings and their requests of you. So that's why I like being able to slow it down, narrate what happened, take responsibility for your action. I yelled at you. I was wrong. It wasn't your fault, and I'm sorry. Then naming their feelings. I wonder if you were feeling scared when I did that. I wonder if you were feeling angry with me. Or I wonder if you're currently feeling angry with me. And then now what is kind of the future. Do you have any requests of me? Is there anything I can make this right? Or I'm going to make some commitments to you. The point of all of this is really to help your child not internalize that shame, that toxic shame that eats them alive, that makes them think I've got to do better, be better, I'm not good enough, they're a worthlessness, and something's wrong with me, I'm not good. We want our kids to be able to know that at their core, they are good, they are worthy, they are loved, they are forgiven, they are accepted, they are safe, they are secure, that we are human, we make mistakes, and we fix our mistakes, and that our mistakes are our responsibility as the parent. It's not their fault. And thinking about a generation of kids who grows up not thinking my parents' anger is my fault, and I can make requests of people, and I can make repair if I make a mistake. Just how unshamed that will make all of our reactions moving forward. So this is really, Repair is a very important parenting skill. And it really comes in like, where does it fit in the Calm Mama process? It's kind of that calm connect piece, right? I've got to do my work to calm myself, do my reflection, figure out why I acted this way. And then in repair, I'm going into connection and I'm saying, hey, this thing happened. I wonder how you felt about it. And helping them externalize some of that internal emotional upset and giving them words and language and a story and a way to communicate it. So repair is kind of this two parts. It's part of calm and it's part of connect. I calm myself by doing self-forgiveness, moving through my own guilt, and understanding why I behave the way I behave so that I can make that change. And then I go back and I connect back with my kids in repair in an honest conversation where I acknowledge what I did, I take responsibility, and I acknowledge the impact on them. So that is repair. If you feel like you're not quite sure how to do it or you just can't get over that guilt, I highly encourage you to sign up for a complimentary consultation with me. Come talk to me about it. I'll, talk to you about either working with me privately. I usually work with someone for 6 sessions privately so that they can kind of move through. If you have some really big guilt, really big shame, you can't overcome it, we can work on that in the private sessions. Or you can join the Calm Mama Club and listen to the course and get into the workbook and do some of the exercises. Come to the club session meetings and ask me some questions and I will help guide you into repair and give you some language and some scripts and things like that. So that's available to you working with me privately or joining the club for $30 a month. And the way you do either of those is by going to the website, calmmamacoaching.com, and just connecting with me through the programs page. And I would love to talk to you about either of those programs. Well, okay, heavy stuff, but I do know that it's normal. We all have big feelings. We all show up in ways we don't love. And we all have the strength, the inner strength to say sorry and to make things right. All right. I will talk to you next week. Hey, Mama. If you enjoyed this podcast episode, I want to encourage you to do 2 things. The first is go to my website, calmmamacoaching.com, and get a copy of the Stop Yelling cheat sheet. You'll get a step-by-step breakdown of the most important tool I teach, which is the pause break. And you'll also get 40 ideas to reset your body and balance your nervous system so you don't have to yell at your kids. You can get a copy of that, again, at my website, calmmamacoaching.com/stop yelling. The other thing I'd love for you to do is go to Apple Podcasts and rate and review this podcast so that other moms can discover empowering and helpful, practical parenting strategies just like you did today. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. It means a lot to be in your ear every week and to support you on your parenting journey.